It's about AI and it's about security. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. First and foremost, AI is shaping our lives from the very intimate levels to the very macro levels, solving challenges in healthcare, in education, in transportation, and in security. But we're right about just jumping into the next frontier of AI innovation, the one with agentic AI. And as I was at RSA, is the largest security conference in our industry, and I'm just actually coming straight from there. And the entire theme was around agentic AI. It was about innovation and human ingenuity, and how agents are going to redefine our lives. In the very near future, each of us, our families, our organizations, will have these unique and interactive personas, these AI agents. They're going to be as ubiquitous as the apps we use, perhaps even more because of ambient intelligence. And they're certainly going to be more interactive, easier to use. These agents are going to be in our home, they're going to be in our workplace, they're going to be in the industry. It's not that far-fetched to imagine you having a research agent which helps you do deep research for your startup, gets those new ideas, or an analyst agent which takes all of those raw data and converts them into insights that you can augment your analysis with. Or a chief of staff agent. I can't live one without my chief of staff, and I wish I had one to augment her with, who's managing your schedule every single day, working with these agents, and maybe even working with your home companion agent, who's managing your appointments, maybe tutoring your children, and maybe even planning some fun things for you. What these agents are going to do is work with you, work with us on navigating our daily complex lives. And as you think about your startups and you think about your organizations, the question is, what is that human to agent ratio and what does that look like? Because we're stepping into this bold new world of frontier organizations. These agents will be our digital colleagues, they will be our personal companions, they will be our thought partners, our creators, and they will work with each other to give us back that one thing that we lack so desperately: time. But for those who are in security, like me, and wake up every morning thinking about what is the risk that this poses to organizations, we all know that for AI to fulfill its potential and promise, it must start with security. And rightfully so, because this is what our world is facing today. Microsoft is the largest security company in the world. We process 84 trillion signals every single day. And that gives us a unique vantage point from where we observe threat actors. Last year, we were tracking 4,000 password attacks per second. This year, we're tracking 7,000 password attacks per second. I know you're all math geniuses, so you can do the math. That's 600 million attacks a day. The number of attackers has increased from 300 that we're tracking, these are like unique nation-state actors and financial crime actors, to 1,500. That's a 5x increase. And the amount of time it takes for a user or for an actor to get access to a user's data is on average 72 minutes, and that's going down. So as we think about this AI-first paradigm and AI-led startups and AI-led innovation, remember, there are those who have malicious intent, who are looking at how do they get into your systems and how do they access the things that make you stand out, your IP, your personal information. Cybercrime today costs our world $9.2 trillion. If it was a country, it would be the third largest GDP in the world. That is the fastest growing GDP. And they are going to use AI as well. So it's imperative that we think about security first. And these are the critical security considerations. And no, these are not just for security teams. These are for all of you. As you build apps or you work with apps, these are the questions you need to ask. What's your identity strategy and what permissions do these agents have? Every agent will have its own identity. What's going on with your data? How are you protecting it? Is it labeled? Is it classified? Do you have the right data leakage policies? What about privacy? If agents are working across teams or across companies or across your own home and work, what are the privacy considerations? And then there's insider risk. 20% of data breaches today are as a result of insiders. Threat protection, 24/7. Rules of engagement. How do you know what these agents should work on and shouldn't work on? And then, of course, governance and compliance. The truth is, as we are mainstream in the age of AI, and as agents are becoming pervasive around us, human defenses will need to scale at the speed and scale of AI. And that's why, when we think of security, it is critical that we have innovation and entrepreneurship. I track the Morgan Stanley CIO survey pretty closely. We get it every quarter. And it talks about where CIOs are spending money. What's their priorities? This morning, I was with a number of investors. The last year of RSAs are always investor meetings. And security is the most defensible spend for all CIOs and is the number 2 priority for CIOs. Number 1 is AI. And if you ask any organization, they will tell you that they're not going to really start on their AI journey without security. So as all of you sit here, some of the brightest minds in our industry, the question is, what innovation are we driving together for security? And as we think of this, they're two deeply interconnected, but different sides of it that we need to think about. We need to think about AI agents for security and AI for security in general. Because those superpowers of AI, security probably is the best use case for them, if not the most serious use case. And we also have to think about securing all this AI. How do we do that? So let's start with AI for security. Today, security-focused AI, and Microsoft started this journey 2 years back in March 2023. We announced our first security OpenAI ChatGPT 4-based model called Security Copilot. And the way we built it was based on these 3 things. It's largely the sum of our experience and our ethos. What I mean by that is we took open source models, we ground them on the security signals and the security data, that 84 trillion number that I shared with you. We fine-tune them, we refine them on security skills because we want them to understand what is threat protection, how do you do data security, how do you not hallucinate. And then we make sure that we are observing them, we are auditing them, we are governing them, and really checking their behavior. That's great. We have already made a lot of progress. We've seen in security defenders who have no experience, like novice, get 26% faster, 35% more accurate. We've seen seasoned professionals get 22% faster. But tomorrow is going to be more. So take a step with me into imagination. I'm a big science fiction fan, so this is like my thing to do. And imagine in the future, we will have AI agents doing security incredibly well. Self-taught, that can help us all build rapid competency in a number of fields. Because today, one of the biggest challenges in security is talent. There are 4.6 million jobs that are unfulfilled today. So imagine these AI agents just augmenting us and helping us develop that competency. Imagine these AI agents predicting and stopping normal attacks before they even happen. Largely, security is a reactive thing today. And we need to go to predictive. So imagine that. Or imagine these AI agents identifying that data risk when you are putting your data structures in place. Whether it's databases or a file or an email that you write, imagine. It's doing that, it's labeling that, and it's putting measures in place so you avoid that data risk. And imagine AI agents who are autonomously applying identity and access policies so that the right people can have access to the right things at the right time for the right reasons. And then take it away when they don't need it. Dynamically adjust that. And imagine in the future, all these AI agents working together to security is by design and by default. Because I promise you, if you're writing code and you're not thinking of security first, you're putting your organization at grave risk, not to mention all those customers who are going to use your application. Because all those customers have the chief security officer, which is now the chief governance officer, and is going to be the biggest impediment to adopting that AI. So imagine if you all have AI agents which do security so well that it becomes a catalyst for innovation and not a risk at all. And the journey has started. This year, the first few security AI agents have been launched. 3 weeks back, we have an event called Microsoft Secure. We announced 11 agents. 6 first party from Microsoft and 5 from our partners. And I'm incredibly proud of the partner ones because I think security requires the entire ecosystem to participate in it. We have agents from our partners for Security Operations Center and for privacy. We have agents for vulnerabilities, phishing. It's going to be a fun innovation time. And in the next 2 years, this evolution is going to be exponential, introducing an entirely new paradigm for defenders. Because these AI agents are going to go to higher autonomy levels. They're going to learn, they're going to adapt, they're going to help us create and plan, dynamically adjust to help us achieve our goals and work autonomously with each other, with the other agents, across organizations, across countries, across sectors. This is a chart which shows how we see the evolving stages of autonomy. Today, we are largely at level 0, level 1, where these agents are mimicking human actions and doing repetitive tasks, so Jenny are really good at that, and it's thinking and it's learning. And this year, we've already moved to level 1 with these agents planning and acting, of course with human agency, but they're getting work done. In just the next 2 years, you're going to see them go to higher levels of autonomy, 2 and 3, where they can perhaps take sub-goals or even change their goals. Maybe they can modify their own code to achieve the goals and outcomes that have been set for them. But as you think about this, and as we talked about that threat landscape, the threat actors are also going to use AI. These are just a few things that we observe. How many of you still use passwords? Raise your hands. Time to go passwordless. Today is Passkey Day, by the way. Happy Passkey Day. Gosh, those passwords are risky. And threat actors are going to do everything they can to exploit your passwords. Or phishing. How many of us have been a victim to a phishing-related campaign? They're going to use social engineering to prey on us, that which makes us super vulnerable, our humanity. Or deepfakes. I'm sure you've seen all these deepfake videos going around. Or malware proliferation. Or generation of finding vulnerabilities really quickly and automating that. And along with all these attacks, there's data risk. 20% of those data breaches from insiders that I talked about earlier. 80% of leaders at organizations are saying data security is their biggest concern, the biggest impediment to adopting AI. And 83% of organizations have experienced at least one data breach in their lifetime. And many times I've been in the room when someone is going through an attack. And I can tell you, it's a very vulnerable room. Because if you're a small business and you experience an attack, you may not have a business. It's that serious. And if you are a large organization and you have an attack, you may lose the confidence and the trust of your customers. This is why we have to think about security first when it comes to AI. And we have to think about security for AI across the board. SaaS AI apps, so the apps that you're developing out of box. Custom AI apps that you're developing, say on Azure AI Foundry or Amazon Bedrock or Google Vertex or Mistral or any of those, OpenAI. And then of course agents. And the three things for consideration are data oversharing and data leakage, where if your data is not prepared, it is going to get leaked. Everything from your HR records to find salaries of your peers, to your financial statements, like earnings, before earnings, to your IP. There's a high risk. New AI threats. I'm sure you've heard of the word prompt injections, or wallet abuse, or LLM model poisoning. So many fancy words. But these are real risks. They're new attack surfaces that AI is introducing. And then regulations. Think per IDC, there are 250 regulatory updates per day. Just in the last year, there have been dozens of AI-related regulations. So if you're a company and you're providing innovation across the globe, you need to comply with that. You need to think about AI being secured from the very first line of code. By secure, needs to be secure by design, by default, and operations. You need to secure the AI models, the identities, the data that they're going to access. Make sure that we have transparency and auditing and we're learning from that. We have the right threat protection 24/7, and then we are establishing strong governance and policies. Governance, in my perspective, is going to be irreplaceable because it's all about, are these agents doing what they're supposed to do? And this is why security is the #1 priority at Microsoft. These are Satya's words. In May 2024, we wrote a memo to every single employee at Microsoft saying security must come above all else, full stop. Because security is about trust. And if we don't have trust, we don't earn the right to provide technologies that others can use. We launched the Secure Future Initiative in November 2023. We doubled down in May 2024. It's the largest security initiative in the world. It has the equivalent of 34,000 full-time engineers working on it. It has 6 pillars, which are listed here. Everything from protecting identities and secrets, to networks, to your engineering systems, to tenants and isolating production systems, to accelerating response and remediation, or to protecting threats 25/7. But more than anything, the Secure Future Initiative for us is a cultural movement. I'm going to ask a question. How many of you, as you went through DICON AIverse, thought of security as you were listening to all these conversations? We have work to do, friends. This is why it matters. It's a culture thing, and it's not just the security team's job. If every person in your organization doesn't think about security, we cannot win this asymmetry in the battlefield with the threat actors. That's why Microsoft has made security a core priority for every single employee. It's in your reviews that you do with your manager twice a year. Executive compensation is tied to security, not just the security team, but all executives. We have 14 deputy CISOs that we've hired who work with the engineering leaders on ensuring governance. And we've put a security skill academy that 50,000 employees have already taken through. And we review our security updates with Satya every other week and send a report every week, and we have a meeting with the board, of course, every quarter. The first meeting, we start with security. Security deeply matters. And for us, it's turbocharging our product flywheel of defense. Because we use all these learnings from security to build better products. And these products we're using to secure Microsoft and to secure our customers. And we're protecting 1.4 million customers today with these solutions. As I come to a close here, it would be amiss if I didn't talk about security being a team sport. When the beautiful Anita asked me to come to TiCon, one of the main reasons was so that we can drive awareness. What is the responsibility that we carry? Microsoft can't do it alone. It's impossible. We need you. We need every person to lean in and to do great security, to innovate. There's so much opportunity. So much opportunity. Probably we are living in the most interesting time in the history of humanity with AI and the innovations that we can bring. And security needs that because finally it's trust. Trust is utterly foundational for all. It starts with security. So as we leave TiCon, inspired and energized and motivated, let's take a pause and to think about what is our responsibility in this world. Maybe not for ourselves, but for the future generations to come. What's the world that we want to leave for them? Because I'm sure you agree with me that these are not ordinary times right now. And these times are going to require extraordinary leadership. Our world is going to be shaped by innovators, creators, entrepreneurs, the head and the heart. And we are all in this together. Because the best way to predict the future is to create it. And the best future is one which is secure. So I look forward to partnering with you all on security. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you so much for your time.